If by any chance you or maybe even one of your loved ones is thinking about downsizing, I really want to ask you to watch this video because I have noticed after selling houses for over 11 years, over 1,000 different closings, what most people are thinking when they are ready to downsize. They really are ready to move, but they're not ready for what moving actually looks like. And unfortunately, sometimes those points don't get talked about. You and I know we can research the internet. You're going to find all kinds of videos on the staging and what the process of selling looks like. But not many people are just saying, hey, the process, it's going to catch you off guard. So that's why I want to just care for you today by sharing what this actually looks like when you are downsizing and potentially just to be prepared for. So the first one that comes to my mind is that the emotional timeline is actually a lot longer than the physical timeline of selling a house. You can pack boxes, okay, in a weekend. You can prepare the house. But when you've been living in this house for 20 to 30 years, it takes months to really prepare. And I would actually use the word grief. I've personally seen it. It's hard to leave a house that you've lived in so long, and there's memories attached to it. And I just share that with you, one, to be aware of it. But this is also where when you start talking with a real estate professional, I would encourage us to start talking early on because it allows that emotional reality to catch up. Even though the physical preparations and selling may not take too long, I find that the emotional is a little bit longer than you anticipate. The second item that I think people just don't want to talk about here is your stuff probably won't fit. I know the reality is homeowners have a lot of stuff, and especially when you live in the house for a long time, you're thinking about downsizing. What do you do with this stuff? Well, the reality is I think a lot of times homeowners assume their kids are going to take it. But what I have found is kids often don't want the furniture. They don't want the china anymore, or maybe the collectibles. Obviously not all the time, but I have seen it more than not. Is really the hope is that the kids are going to take it, but then they don't want it. And now you have stuff to deal with. And you're not going to have room in the next house for it. And so I just want you to know, one, that could be a hard moment, but we have solutions for you. There are stuff specialists. And I say it that way because it's hard to pinpoint them. You know, you kind of heard about estate sales where they're going to really be really good at selling various items that have worth. Of course, you have donations and then trash companies. But a stuff specialist can really come in the house and see everything you have, help you make decisions based upon what does have value, what does not have value. And they can, if you choose, they can be the ones to actually do all the moving for you. So maybe some stuff just needs to go to the trash. But maybe some stuff, it's not trash worthy, but there's no real monetary value, but it would absolutely serve Habitat for Humanity or Goodwill. Salvation Army, these places, they can help actually deliver it and take it to places that could utilize it. But they can also help identify the stuff that you don't need anymore, but really is value. They can help identify the estate sales. And when I say estate sale, usually people assume there's enough that has to be sold in a home in order for there to be an estate sale. And a lot of estate sales do that. But what if you have 10 items? It doesn't warrant its entire estate sale, but you do want to just get maximum dollar for that. Well, a lot of these estate sale companies will actually take the item, they'll put it in storage, and they will sell it when the next big estate sale auction happens. And so they move it out for you, and you're going to be able to get money for it when they actually put it a part of a particular auction where they bring a lot of stuff in. So I just want you to know that there really are options when it comes to your stuff. And yes, you might have to be willing to be okay if kids don't want it, but it doesn't mean there's not solutions, because there really are solutions. And the third item that comes to my mind when I think of what do people not know or what catches them off guard when they're looking to downsize, and it's actually the math is more complicated than I'll pocket equity. That idea, right? Hopefully, if you live in the home for a long time, you will pocket equity. But sometimes sellers assume that might be higher than what it is, because there are potentially moving costs. There is staging costs. There is buying another home costs. Depending upon how long you live in the home, there might be capital gains exposures. If it's been a long-term hold for you, a long-term home for you. And I just find you don't want to, as much as possible, you don't want to find yourself coming into those questions or those concerns or surprises when you're already too far down the path of selling a house. I encourage you to start early and understand the math, what the math really potentially could look like. Because just saying I'll pocket equity does not serve you. It actually helps to break it down and to see what is that equity actually, so that you can make these plans going forward. The fourth item that comes to my mind might be surprising, and that is the right size home for you doesn't always mean smaller. Okay, so we're in this world of downsizing. One of my friends actually uses the word resizing, and I think it's a really good way to talk about going from a home that you lived in for a long time and just resizing, because sometimes you don't need smaller space, you just need different kind of space. Less yard, less stairs. You want potentially a guest suite for folks as they come over, so they can have their own abode. And as you dream, I don't want you to feel like you have to downsize, because you might actually have a very similar square footage in the next house. It is just resizing. It is finding the right kind of space. And so as you dream about this next home, I'd encourage you to dream about how you want to utilize this space. And then that will help determine what size house you actually need to buy. So the fifth item that comes to my mind is that timing actually matters more than agents admit. What do I mean by that? Well, if you were to ask me, hey, Sean, when is the best time to sell a house? Well, I will say, well, houses sell every single day of the year. And that is a true statement. And we can sell a house any time of the year. But there are better times. Okay, there really are. And I believe if you are looking to downsize, you might be retired. That means you have time on your side. And, well, maybe I should say this. You have flexibility on your side, where a lot of buyers don't have that flexibility. So many buyers are determining their timeline based upon their kids' school or their work, transferring. They're choosing the timeline based upon the external circumstances, where you may have a superpower in your hand, and that is you can choose when to sell your house at the best time. So timing really does matter more than sometimes people actually tell you. And the last one that I think of is you may not know where you want to land yet. And that's okay. It's a big decision to downsize, to move from a home you lived in for a long time and to move to something else. And I just want you to know it's okay if you don't know where you're going yet. I'll just give you a quick story. I just had a wonderful couple who all the kids are out of the house. Actually, retirement is right around the corner. And they simply wanted to sell their home, have that, I don't say this in a bad way, but just have that stress behind them. They could have the home sold. They could know exactly how much money that they made, and it's sitting in a savings account. And they went and rented a really cute apartment. It's walking distance to some restaurants, and they are loving life. They're not going to stay doing that forever. They are going to buy a house, but they don't know exactly where they're going to move. And selling early actually brought a lot of comfort to them because they're enjoying this season of life. And while it might be temporary, they're loving it. And I share that with you because I've heard it so many times where people say, I don't want to move twice. And I totally understand that. I think I would probably say that. Though, when you've been living in a house so long, sometimes you may not know really where you're going to be moving. So to have the sale behind you, to do a temporary place to live, it really could be good for your soul. I've personally seen it so many times. So I just want you to know that while you can absolutely buy right after you sell, I just want you to feel the freedom. Many don't know where they're going yet when they actually sell. So that might be your case as well. Now, look, downsizing is absolutely one of the most significant moves you're going to make. Not just logistically, while there is that, but remember that it's also emotional and it's financial. It's all of it. And so people who navigate this process really well, they don't just get lucky because of the market. They typically had somebody in their corner who was helping them think before they ever even listed a single thing. So I want you to know, here in the Fredericksburg area, Stafford, Spotsylvania, King George, I kind of call us the Fredericksburg corridor, anywhere. We want to help you. So don't do this alone. We can help you think through the next 1-2 years on how to prepare, what's next, the finances. This is our job. So don't feel like you're ever inconveniencing if you ask us to connect before you're actually ready to sell. I actually think it's going to serve you. So reach out to us. Give us a phone call. Give us a text message. My information is up here on the screen, and I would love to serve you. God bless. Have a wonderful day.